The little bell above the cafe door rang softly, but no one noticed it, not because the place was loud, but because the people inside had grown used to ignoring small sounds. The cafe sat beneath a towering glass building downtown, the kind of place where billionaires signed deals. Upstairs, while ordinary people poured coffee below, it was warm inside, filled with the smell of roasted beans and cinnamon pastries, yet somehow it always felt a little lonely. Behind the counter stood a young waitress named Clara, her shoulders slightly hunched, her eyes always downcast unless she was spoken to directly. She moved carefully, as if trying not to take up too much space in a world that already felt too big for her. Clara had been shy for as long as she could remember. Words often failed her when she needed them most, tangling in her throat like they were afraid to come out. But her hands were different. They were confident, precise, gentle. She had learned sign language as a child to communicate with her younger brother, who had been born deaf. Long after he passed away, her hands remembered what her heart could not forget. Signing was the only language that never betrayed her. That afternoon, the cafe filled with a quiet kind of importance. Men in tailored suits spoke in low, serious voices. Phones buzzed. Laptops glowed. Clara recognized the signs immediately. This meant him was nearby. Everyone in the neighborhood knew the billionaire, who owned the glass tower above them. His name was Alexander Hale. He rarely came down himself, but when he did, the air changed. People sat up straighter. Managers whispered. Tips got bigger. Nerves got tighter. The door opened again. This time Clara felt it before she saw it. An elderly woman entered slowly, supported by a young assistant. She wore a simple gray coat, her silver hair pulled neatly back, her posture dignified despite her age. Her eyes moved calmly across the room, observing everything with quiet intelligence. She did not flinch at sudden movements or raised voices. She didn't react at all, because she couldn't hear them. This was Evelyn Hale, Alexander's mother. Clara froze behind the counter. She recognized her instantly, not from news articles or photos, but from something deeper. The way Evelyn's eyes searched faces, the way she read lips without staring, the way her hands rested lightly at her sides, always ready. Clara had seen that posture before. She had lived with it. Evelyn sat alone at a small table by the window. The assistant leaned down and spoke slowly, carefully, but Evelyn smiled politely and nodded without fully understanding. When the assistant left to take a call, Evelyn was alone, completely surrounded by people, yet isolated in a silence none of them could imagine. No one approached her. Clara felt a familiar ache rise in her chest. She brought over a menu and placed it gently on the table, pointing kindly. Evelyn looked up, smiled warmly, and said something Clara couldn't hear, but she didn't need to. The movement of her lips was enough. Thank you. Clara hesitated. Then, almost without thinking, she lifted her hands. She signed. Hello, my name is Clara. Can I help you? Evelyn's smile froze. Her eyes widened, not in fear, but in disbelief. Slowly, carefully, she raised her own hands, a little stiff with age, and signed back. You know sign language? Clara nodded, her heart suddenly racing. Yes. Would you like some tea? Or coffee? Evelyn's eyes filled instantly with tears. Not loud tears, not dramatic ones. The quiet kind that come from a place long neglected. She signed slowly, emotionally. No one speaks to me anymore. They speak around me. Clara swallowed hard. I can listen. For the first time since entering the cafe, Evelyn truly relaxed. They talked, not with voices, but with hands and expressions and shared understanding. Clara explained the menu. Evelyn asked about her life. Clara told her she worked here part-time and studied at night. She didn't mention her brother. She didn't have to. Evelyn already understood more than anyone else ever had. From the corner of the cafe, a man watched. Alexander Hale had entered quietly, unnoticed by most. Tall, composed, impossibly controlled, he had built an empire by reading people and predicting outcomes. But the scene before him stopped him cold. His mother was laughing. Not a polite smile, not a practiced expression. Laughing. Her hands moved quickly, fluidly, alive in a way he hadn't seen in years, and across from her sat a shy waitress, eyes bright, hands speaking fluently, confidently, giving his mother something no amount of money had ever bought. Connection. Alexander's chest tightened. He had hired the best interpreters, built the best facilities, bought her silence-proof homes, and yet somehow a quiet girl in an apron had done what none of his power could. The assistant returned, startled to see Evelyn so animated. "Mrs. Hale?" she said loudly. Evelyn didn't look at her. She was too busy signing. Alexander stepped forward. Clara noticed him then. Her hands faltered mid-sign. Everyone in the cafe seemed to sense it at once. The shift, the gravity, the presence. Alexander Hale stood at the table, his shadow long, his expression unreadable. Clara's throat tightened. Words abandoned her again. She instinctively lowered her hands. Evelyn turned and saw her son. She smiled and then deliberately took Clara's hands and placed them back in the air. She signed to her son slowly, clearly with intention. "This girl hears me." Alexander stared at Clara, then at his mother, then back at Clara again. The billionaire who never hesitated in boardrooms, who never broke during negotiations, who never showed weakness in public, felt something crack open inside him, and the entire cafe felt it too. Because whatever he was about to say, whatever he was about to do, was going to change all of their lives. If you're feeling this moment, if stories about quiet kindness and unexpected humanity move you, this is the kind of story you'll want to stay with. And if you don't want to miss what happens next, this is the moment where subscribing truly matters. Because what Alexander does next will leave everyone in tears.